After I agreed to the confession of the rich second generation, his childhood sweetheart returned to China. He protects me in front of outsiders as usual. But that night I was followed by a man. When I called him in a hurry, it was his childhood sweetheart who answered the phone. I was chased to the intersection by the tailed man, and the car galloped past and hit me away. When I opened my eyes again, I went back to the year when the rich second generation chased me. Most of the whole knows that Zhang Yuan, the richest second generation in the finance department, likes me. For me, he quit all bad habits and even stopped skipping classes. He followed me to the classroom every time. But only I, who have died once, know that these behaviors are all because of another person. His little sweetheart, the person whose name is similar to mine. On the huge playground, a cigarette butt bounced at me and landed on the edge of my shoe. The boy who threw the cigarette butt whistled at me with a sly face. In his previous life, Zhang Yuan touched my head and said gently, "Wait for me here." Then he stepped on the cigarette butt and walked towards the boy with a gloomy face. We didn't say anything. He punched the boy. I didn't expect that he would come up to me regardless of the danger. At that time it was almost impossible for a girl to resist such a boy, right? Rebirth again. I watched this scene indifferently, stepped on the cigarette butt and left the playground, not giving him a chance to perform at all. Zhang Yuan looked at the boy coldly and caught up with me. "Now yeah, what's wrong with you? I will teach him a lesson. Let's not contact each other anymore." I turned around indifferently and didn't look at him. When he heard the words, he took my hand, and I shook his hand away without hesitation, interrupting what he was about to say. He punched the wall beside him, and his lonely eyes were full of the back of my departure. After returning to the dormitory, I directly blocked all of Zhang Yuan's contact information. If you think about it carefully, the change of Zhang Yuan in his previous life is obvious, but I don't know that I fell in love. Since Zhang Yao transferred to our school, Zhang Yuan has not been as good to me as before. And Zhang Yao will carefully plan to pretend to meet by chance every time to intervene in our world of two people. But I have never doubted his feelings for me. It is said that girls who fall in love tend to lose their minds, and I am not the best proof. 3. On this day, a friend message was sent from the mobile phone for verification. It's Zhang Yuan's childhood sweetheart, Zhang Yao. I looked at Zhang Yao's head and was distracted. In the previous life, Zhang Yao didn't tell me her name, but just blindly gave me a horsepower. I was a little upset. The girl's sixth sense told me whether the so-called yuan in her mouth was related to Zhang Yuan, so I shared this matter with Zhang Yuan. In the past, he always replied to me in seconds. This time he didn't reply to me for a whole day, and didn't explain anything. When I came to my senses, I looked at Zhang Yao's avatar coldly and directly chose to refuse to add. In a failed love triangle, there is always a fool who pays the price of wrong love. And I won't be that idiot anymore. 4. The next morning, I walked out of the dormitory door and saw Zhang Yuan squatting decadently not far away, with a pile of cigarette butts piled up on the edge of his shoes. When he saw me, a trace of panic flashed in his eyes. He knew that I hated the smell of cigarettes. He immediately extinguished the unfinished cigarette in his hand, nervously sorted out his messy ink hair, and staggered over. "Why did you blacklit me?" He blocked me and asked with red eyes. I was about to make it clear to him when a shadow rushed over. "You and I transferred to your school. How about it?" Surprised or not, it turned out to be Zhang Yao, and his hair was small. I glanced at Zhang Yao indifferently and continued to walk forward. Zhang Yuan ignored Zhang Yao, but grabbed my hand and tried to forcefully keep me. "Yao, why don't you pay attention to me? I can correct anything wrong." I suddenly felt ridiculous. At the beginning, I asked me as a stand-in just to make her angry and avenge her abandonment. Now that she is back, why is she still pestering me? "Yao, can you tell me why you ignore me and why you blacklisted me?" I pulled my hand out of his hands and slapped him with all my strength. "Listen, I don't like you." He didn't seem to believe my words. He stroked his cheek with his right hand and arranged his hairstyle. I looked at his fair left face, which was red because of my palm. "Does it hurt?" I asked coldly. Zhang Yuan replied in an instant. "It doesn't hurt. As long as you are happy, you can hit me as many times as you want. Even if it hurts, he won't say it. Chuhahanjia, we will not interfere with each other in the future. But how can this pain compare with the desperate pain of falling for him step by step and finally paying the price of my life?" 5. Seeing this, Zhang Yao wanted to come and teach me a lesson, but was stopped by Zhang Yuan. "No one can touch her except me, otherwise she will bear the consequences." Zhang Yao said angrily. "Zhang Yuan, can you stop being cheap? I just want to veer my anger for you." He looked at my back and replied indifferently. "You don't have to worry about my business." The roommates all gathered around me when they saw me. I told them not to mention Zhang Yuan in the future. Yao Yao, what's going on? Aren't you having a good time with Zhang Yuan? Yes, Yao Yao, did he bully you? How dare you bully our Yao Yao? Let's see if we don't kill him. I was moved by the words of my roommates. I wiped the tears from the corners of my eyes and smiled. I'm not alone. I still have them. I told them, I don't like Zhang Yuan and I will never like him. 7. Tomorrow is the school's orientation party. The party is in charge of the student union of the school, and as a member of the student union, I have to come back early. In my last life I was knocked to the ground by Zhang Yao in front of everyone, and I was splashed all over by her. The wet clothes were close to me, and the spring light suddenly leaked out. I froze in place defenselessly, or Zhang Yuan rushed up and took off his coat and put it on me, but this embarrassing scene lingered in my heart. Zhang Yuan said in a fierce voice, "She is my girlfriend. No one is allowed to touch her, otherwise she will bear the consequences." But Zhang Yao not only didn't get punished but also became worse to stimulate me. I posted my embarrassed photo with a bad title on the school forum. That's so much so that for a long time I didn't dare to walk alone at school. 8. Now Yao, what's wrong with you? A warm and plain voice sounded in my ear. I came back to my senses and saw a handsome teenager standing in front of me, looking at me. I know him. He is the general planner of the orientation party and Shan Wang, the chairman of the student union of the school. I heard that he is a rich son with a deep background. He is steady and low-key, and he is not the same style as Zhang Yuan, who does his own things. I'm fine. Thank you for your concern, senior. I withdrew my mind and answered him with a smile. Shen Wang stared at me for a few seconds, turned around and left. At this time a roommate came over. Damn, isn't that Senior Shen? He actually took the initiative to care about you just now. I've never seen him take the initiative to talk to anyone. Shua, lower your voice or it's not good to be misunderstood. While I was talking I subconsciously made a moof. Yo-yo dash. She frowned at me. I think Senior Shen may be interested in you. When the roommate saw my disbelief, he continued to say, if you don't believe me, wait for me. I'll help you try it. I shook my head in a hurry, but before I could speak, she suddenly pulled her throat and said, What? Su Yao, you want to drink milk tea? This loud voice is clear and hearable even in this busy venue. I didn't have time to cover her mouth at all and lowered my head awkwardly. But fortunately, everyone was busy with their own affairs and ignored us. Shen Wang just took a look and continued to be busy. Wait and see. If a boy likes a girl, it's very detailed. The roommate patted me on the shoulder and said. I shrugged my shoulders. Then you're going to be disappointed. There are many girls who like Senior Shen. Which round is it for me? However, 20 minutes later, many different brands of milk tea takeaways were delivered one after another, and the signatory was Mr. Shen. Come on, senior. Please take whatever brand you usually like to drink. Ah, it's milk tea. I love you, senior. Everyone screamed and ran over happily. When I looked, I just met the bright eyes of Senior Shen. Thinking of what my roommate said, I looked away in a panic. I don't have much impression of Shen Wang. We have intersections just because we are also members of the student union. If there is anything I don't understand in every activity, I will ask him. He will teach me patiently every time. He can always do a good job in planning an arrangement every time, which is incredibly perfect. In fact, I admire Senior Shen in my heart. I drank milk tea and thought to myself that maybe the senior was just considerate and took good care of every junior. 9. At the orientation party, like her previous life, Zhang Yao, as a new transfer student, needs to introduce herself. She speaks beautifully, which has won the favor of many seniors. She looked at me, not only complacent but also provocative. I didn't take it seriously and looked elsewhere, with a sneer at the corner of his mouth. As a result, she came towards me with a glass of soda in her hand. The moment I turned around, she smiled proudly and accelerated her steps and hit my shoulder. But I didn't expect that I took 2 steps back at this moment. This time she fell to the ground without standing firmly, and the soda in her hand spilled on her own clothes. Zhang Yao looked at me in astonishment, and the eyes of the people around her also looked this way. It was Su Yao who tripped me, and she also poured soda on me to make a fool of myself. I don't know where I provoked her. Zhang Yao looked at Zhang Yuan and said aggrievedly, with tears in her eyes, looking pitiful. Zhang Yuan came over with a dark look in his eyes. He took off his coat and put it on Zhang Yao's body. He looked at me and seemed to be a little disappointed. There was also a whisper in the crowd. I think Zhang Yao's junior sister is a good person. Anyway, I think so. I didn't expect that Su Yao looked very kind, but she was very bad behind the back. No one can say that except me, Yao Yao. Zhang Yuan said that he wanted to come to me, but was pulled by Zhang Yao. If anyone chews the tongue again, I won't let it go. A discongruent voice in the crowd made me couldn't help looking over. And Senior Shen also looked over, and I seemed to see the heartache from those deep eyes. Maybe I just read it wrong. Unexpectedly, Senior Shen came over from the crowd, protected me behind him, and said to me gently and firmly, "I trust you." Zhang Yuan came over with jealousy when he saw the situation, but was stopped by Senior Shen. He looked at Shen Wang with a gloomy face. "Yao Yao is the person I like. You stay away from her, or I won't let you go," Sun Sun said without showing weakness. "If you like someone, you will trust the other person for no reason. Are you worthy of saying that you like him?" 10. The roommate came out of the crowd and said loudly, "Look at the big screen and you will know what happened." After saying that, the roommate raised his eyebrows at me and gave me a look of winning. Fortunately, I told my roommates in advance that Zhang Yao would be bad, and the roommates also trusted me very much and said that they would never let Zhang Yao go. Looking at the content on the big screen, I didn't expect that all this was filmed by my roommate, and even Zhang Yao's sinister and smug eyes were not overlooked at that time. Zhang Yao's first good impression on the seniors also collapsed at this moment. It turns out that Zhang Yao is a little white lotus. Thieves shout to catch thieves. It's not good to see her little white flower in front of you. Who should I show it to? Only those stupid men will be fooled. Zhang Yao looked at Zhang Yuan at a loss and looked at him for help. And Zhang Yuan's eyes were unbelievable, and his feet seemed to be fixed in place and did nothing. I looked at them sarcastically, ignoring Zhang Yao's vicious eyes on me. First love is like a pure white jasmine in memory spotless. He didn't expect that the flower would be so vicious that it broke the imprint of kindness and pride in his heart. But I know that he will definitely forgive Zhang Yao. Just like in his previous life, no matter what Zhang Yao did to me, even if he knew it was just a warning, but he could never bear to hurt Zhang Yao. 11. Yao Yao, I knew you were not that kind of person. I just put a coat on her just because it was a public place, nothing else. Zhang Yuan seemed to realize that what he did was wrong and quickly explained to me. And I had no interest in his explanation and only gave him an indifferent look. He couldn't bear to let Zhang Yao bear it alone. "Yao Yao, I'll send her back first." I closed my eyes heavily, and when I opened my eyes were full of clarity. I also left the party early, but I didn't expect that Senior Shen would also come out. As the chairman of the student union, how can he leave the general planner of the party? But I didn't expect that he said, "I don't worry about you." His words made my heart beat faster, and I pretended to be plain and replied, "I'm fine." Sun Shen looked at me for a few seconds before saying, "Then I'll send you back. It's not safe for girls to be alone." After saying that, he looked forward and didn't give me a chance to refuse. Looking at his handsome side face in my mind, Senior Shen was protecting what I said at the party. "I trust you. If you like someone, you will trust the other person for no reason. Are you worthy of saying that you like him?" The combination of these two sentences is really easy to make people conjecture. Didn't he trust me for no reason at that time? Master Shen seemed to notice my gaze and turned to look at me. There is a kind of firmness and deep affection in his eyes. That persistence is touching, as if his eyes are always the same no matter what kind of wind and rain he experiences. Suddenly, an incredible picture appeared in my mind. In the last life after I died in a car accident, a teenager rushed over and stabbed the culprit who followed me with a dagger. The teenager held my head in his arms with blood in his hands and shouted at me heartbreakingly. Finally, a trace of determination appeared on his face, which was also the dagger. This time he poked himself. The word Su Yao is tattooed on the inside of his left forearm. 12. Su Yao, how are you? Shen Wang shouted at me with anxiety in his tone. I came back to my senses and looked away awkwardly. When I lowered my head, a trace of blush appeared on my face, and the corners of my mouth unconsciously curled up. Shen Wang saw the tear from the corner of my eye and gently wiped it with his hand. He thought I was crying because of what happened at today's party, and quickly comforted me. "Su Yao, what will happen at the party will not happen again. I will protect you." Shen Wang's words hit my heart like a deer, and finally hit my heart. I looked up at Shen Wang and replied, "I am fine. Thank you very much, Senior Shen." Shen Wang stared at me and saw that I was in a stable mood. Instead of continuing about the party, he asked, "Actually, There was a trace of tension in his expression. But unconsciously, we had already walked downstairs to the girls' dormitory. "Well, Senior Shen, I'm at the dormitory. I'll go back first. Thank you for today." I interrupted Shen Wang's words and went back to the dormitory with a faster heartbeat. Maybe I'm expecting something in my heart, but it seems that I'm not ready for it yet. There was reluctance in his eyes. Perhaps he hoped that the road would last forever. Not long after I returned to the dormitory, I received a group message from the student union. Everyone, thank you for your hard work in preparing for the party. Members who want to go to the amusement park to relax tomorrow will gather at the school gate in the morning, and I will bear all the expenses. When I saw the news from Senior Shun, there was a trace of strangeness in my heart that I had never noticed myself. It's as if he did it for me. 13. When he arrived at the school gate, Zhang Yiyuan was driving his luxurious sports car and parked there. He rolled down the window and took off his sunglasses, causing a group of little girls around him to scream. He had half a cigarette in his hand, and when he saw me, he immediately extinguished the cigarette. Yao Yao, get in the car. Let's go together. I was a little surprised. It was not that he invited me to take his car, but that he took the initiative to participate in this activity. Also, the rich second-generation boyfriend regarded me as his childhood stand-in. After rebirth, I chose to take the lead in slapping him 39,103 inch. I gave her a disdainful look and was about to refuse Zhang Yiyuan. An off-road vehicle came into our sight. Shen Wang, who was sitting in the driver's seat, rolled down the window and looked at me and said, Su Yao, do you want to get in the car? Zhang Yiyuan looked at Shen Wang with hostility in his eyes, but the other party didn't care and never gave him a glance. I looked at Shen Wang and said with a smile, Good, then thank you, senior. As I said, I bypassed Zhang Yiyuan and walked to the off-road vehicle. When I was about to open the rear door, Shen Wang said, Wait, come and sit in the passenger seat. My hand stays in the air. Ah, all right. Zhang Yiyuan domineeringly wanted to take my hand and ride his sports car, but how could I get what he wanted? I dodged his hand and sat in Shen Wang's co-driver under his lost gaze. 14. At this time, several seniors of the student union will sit in the back seat of the car. They greeted me one after another. Hello, Sister Su Yao. I responded one by one with some doubts in my heart. Obviously, they are seniors, but why do they call me sister? A smile appeared on the corner of Shen Wang's mouth, as if he was in a particularly good mood, and he also played pop music. Zhang Yiyuan has always been very bold and drives very fast. He obviously arrived a moment early, but he sat alone in the car and smoked a cigarette, but Zhang Yao was not seen in the back seat of the car. Maybe he saw us from the rearview mirror, and he extinguished the unfinished cigarette. Do you need some sunscreen? It's not convenient to hold an umbrella in the amusement park. Shen Wang handed me the sunscreen, which is the sunscreen I often use. I was hesitating whether to take it when a senior laughed. He has put a lot of thought into this, so the junior sister should accept it. Then thank you, senior. As soon as I finished speaking, the window on Shen Wang's side was knocked mercilessly. Zhang Yiyuan stood outside with an arrogant and confident face. Jumping machine, bungee jumping, do you see it? Come if it's a man. Zhang Yiyuan's behavior makes me feel childish. Several seniors in the back seat exclaimed because of this. Although I was confused, my eyes looked at Shen Wang at this time. I thought Shen Wang would not agree. He has always been steady and rational, and he will never be in moderation on any occasion. Just when I was about to blurt out and refuse for him, the window next to the driver's seat fell completely, and Shen Wang looked at Zhang Yiyuan with a smile. Good. As Shen Wang's words fell, I found that the seniors in the back seat seemed to be more surprised than me. 15. The jumping machine in front of me made me a little timid, and they had risen to the highest point. The next second they fell sharply and soon reached the ground. My heart was pounding just by watching it. Even if I didn't sit up, the impact of the vision also made me experience the feeling that people were in front and the soul was chasing behind. When I saw Shen Wang coming down, his face turned a little pale, and the sweat on his forehead flowed down his cheeks. Zhang Yiyuan said with a mocking face, Why do you look a little vain? You can't even compare with 1/10 of mine, and you still think that Yao Yao will like you? I walked over and handed the tissue to Shen Wang, asked with concern, Are you all right? Why don't you compare with him? Several seniors also ran over and patted Shen Wang on the shoulder. Can you still hold on? Shen Wang nodded, took the tissue, tidied up his face, and then looked at me and said, Don't worry, I'm fine. Then let's go. Zhang Yiyuan hummed disdainfully and then said to me, Yao Yao, I'll let you know that he is not as good as me. Senior Shen. I want to stop Shen Wang. But Shen Wang turned around and looked at me firmly. No matter what the price is, I will not give up. I didn't understand the meaning of his words, and just looked at Shen Wang's back worriedly. At this time, a senior's voice sounded in my ear. Sister, let him go. This is a duel between men. If he gives up, he will regret it for the rest of his life. I vaguely caught something, but it flashed away. Is Shen Wang for me? 16. After Shen Wang finished jumping down, he was in a cold sweat and his legs trembled a little. Fortunately, several seniors immediately ran over to help him, Otherwise he might really have to sit on the ground with his legs weak. I did it. Shen Wang smiled with satisfaction. He was talking to several seniors, but he couldn't take his eyes off me. Brother Shun, I really admire your courage, a senior said with a smile. It's worth it to overcome the fear of heights for the sake of important people, and make yourself so embarrassed. I just hope that person can know. As soon as the other senior's words fell, something seemed to sprout in my heart. I always felt that the person in the senior's mouth was me. I didn't expect that Shen Wang was afraid of heights, otherwise I would stop Zhang Yuan no matter what. What Shen Wang said before. No matter what the price is, I won't give up. Therefore, Shen Wang is really for me. I turned around with red eyes. Wait for me, I'm going to buy some water. I think I need to calm down now. 17. Picture emerged in my mind. That night of Christmas. He has been looking at me quietly. Merry Christmas. Shen Wang suddenly opened his mouth. An exquisite gift box appeared in my field of vision, and I looked up at Shen Wang. Is this for me? Shen Wang nodded. There is a memory card in it, and you can listen to it when you plug it in. I have remembered that picture for a long time. His expression was indifferent, but there was endless tenderness in his eyes. I think that gift may be given to every member of the student union. 18. I bought water and went back to the same place. I gave the water to several seniors, and I personally opened Shen Wang's bottle and handed it to him. Senior Shen, give it to me. He took it with a smile and took a big sip happily. Thank you. Yao Yao, shouldn't you open it for me to drink? Zhang Yuan's voice sounded. I didn't notice when he came here at all. He looked at the bottle of water in Shen Wang's hand and was very jealous, as if he also wanted me to open it for him to drink. And I opened the last bottle of water in his expectant eyes and took a sip by myself. If you want to drink, buy it yourself. Zhang Yuan's expectant eyes turned lost in an instant, which formed a sharp contrast with Shen Wang's happy expression. How can he compare with me? Obviously, I've been chasing you for so long. He asked out the confused words. Shen Wang came to me, protected me behind me, and stared at Zhang Yuan. I'm different from you. Su Yao is the only one in my life. I will try my best to protect her, just like I protect my soul. Shen Wang's words hit my heart. I looked at him so much that I forgot what I just wanted to say to Zhang Yuan. Is Shen Wang confessing to me? 19. Zhang Yuan looked at Shen Wang in disgust. Get out of here. I want to hear Yao Yao speak in person. I walked to the front of Shen Wang, looked at Zhang Yuan and said coldly, what did I say to you? There is nothing to say between us. Zhang Yuan shook his head out of control. It shouldn't be like this, Ao. Why do we change when we say change? I suddenly felt ridiculous. Isn't he the one who should be questioned? Zhang Yuan, did you want to chase me because my name was very similar to someone? His eyes flashed as if he was thinking about how to answer me, but he didn't know how to open his mouth. Since she's back, why do you continue to pester me? I glanced at him indifferently. No, Yao Yao. I admit that I wanted to pursue you because of your name at first, but then I really fell in love with you. I like you very much. He tried his best to explain that he wanted to retain this relationship. I sneered. Zhang Yuan, the pain and regret caused by mistakes cannot be changed. If something is a mistake at the beginning, it should not exist in itself. I thought Zhang Yuan had brought me light, but I didn't expect it to fall into the abyss of darkness. He never knew that on the day of the car accident, I carefully selected a birthday present for him. If the accident had not come, I should have given it to him in person. 20. After leaving the amusement park, Shen Wang took me to a tattoo shop. He told me, I want to tattoo you on my body every minute or a second, and I will have your mark forever. I was so moved that I didn't know what to say. I just asked stupidly, doesn't it hurt? Shen Wang shook his head with a smile. Fool, there is an anesthetic. Even if I don't, I'm not afraid. Where do you think I should tattoo your name? Shen Wang suddenly asked. I thought for a moment and said, the inside of the left forearm. In the process of applying the anesthetic, I suddenly wanted to ask him a question. Senior Shen, have you liked me for a long time? Shen Wang looked at me and raised the corners of his mouth unconsciously. Yes, I think I fell in love with you at first sight. It seems that I can meet him every time in class or on the way out of class. It's a pity that I didn't pay attention to these in my previous life. I always thought it was a coincidence. What if the person around me is still Zhang Yuan? He looked at me seriously and said word by word, the years are like shuttles, and the emotions are not diminished. Wait and stick to the end. He will never give me any pressure. He will take 99 steps when I take the last step. Embrace each other tightly, and the sky and the earth are old. Shen Wang gently slapped the back of my head with one hand and pressed him. At this moment we only saw each other. Su Yao, stay with me. We are getting closer and closer, and our breathing becomes a little faster. The heartbeat is accelerating at this moment for Shen Wang. My face turned red and I hummed shyly. Shen Wang suddenly kissed my lips, gentle and domineering. Yao, I love you. His eyes were focused and affectionate, which made me fall deeply into love. Wang, I love you too. 21. A few days later, Zhang Yao came to me. After not seeing each other for a few days, Zhang Yao was a little depressed, and the dark circles around her eyes were very obvious. Zhang Yuan likes you only because there is also a Yao character in your name. Do you know why? Because the person he likes is me. Your name is Su Yao, and my name is Zhang Yao. She thought she wanted to stimulate me with her own pride. But I didn't expect that. I just replied plainly. Well, I know. I glanced at her indifferently and skimmed her to walk forward. If I hadn't left Zhang Yuan, the people around him wouldn't have been your turn at all. What are you proud of? I stopped. She laughed when she saw this. Maybe she thought I was stimulated by her. Unexpectedly, I just said lightly, I don't like Zhang Yuan. No matter how much you say, there is no way for me. Zhang Yao was speechless and froze in place. 22. It's just like fate, the disaster came as promised. I walked back to school at night. Even if the road was different from my previous life, there was still a man who followed me. At this time the man was already walking towards me. Yo, good sister, why did you suddenly accelerate? You are quite alert. The man's disgusting voice sounded. You don't come here. I looked at the man in fear, but I couldn't see him at all because he was wearing a mask. The man approached me step by step and slammed me against the wall with a bad smile. Can't we still escape the tragic fate? I really regret that I didn't spend enough time with Shen Wang. I showed a desperate smile. Compared with ruining innocence, I'd rather fall into a pool of blood again. At this time, Shen Wang appeared in my sight like an angel, giving me light and hope. He kicked the man away. Then Zhang Yuan also appeared. The man was successfully subdued. Zhang Yuan has a slight scratch on his body. In addition to the scratch, Shen Wang's most serious injury was the dagger on his chest, which was blocked by me. 23. I didn't expect that Zhang Yuan and Shen Wang came to save me at the same time this time. I met Zhang Yao before I left. Zhang Yuan knows where I am. It is Zhang Yao who inquired, and Shen Wang saw that I hadn't gone back yet. He was worried about me and ran out to find me. The operation was very successful. The dagger was pulled out, and Shen Wang's life was not in danger. Fortunately, there is no injury to the important part. I wiped away the tears from the corners of my eyes and looked happy. After Shen Wang woke up, he opened his eyes and looked at me. The first sentence he said was, Yao. I nodded suddenly. I'm here. Are you thirsty? Are you hungry? Shen Wang shook his head with a smile. I'm relieved that you're okay. At this time Zhang Yuan, who had been drugged, walked into the ward. Although he was reluctant, he had to admit it. I quit. I looked at him with some surprise. Zhang Yuan, who has always refused to bow his head, took the initiative to admit defeat for the first time. 24. Shen Wang has to recuperate in the hospital and can't go to class. I go to school every day. After school, I find a senior in his class to bring today's class notes to the hospital. I will stay there at night and accompany him to smell the disinfectant. He said to me several times, Yao, it's too hard for you to take care of me during the day and at night. Go back and have a rest. I shook my head and said coquettishly, I just want to be with you. 25. After Shen Wang was injured, he said that he would invite everyone to dinner, which was also to celebrate our together. He didn't have to take care of anything from me. When it was time, he came downstairs to the dormitory to pick me up. I thought it was just a meal with everyone, so I wore a simple skirt. But after arriving at the venue, I found that it was outrageously wrong. In front of everyone, I collapsed on the flower garden road. The road has been leading me to Shen Wang step by step. He knelt on one knee, handed me the flowers in his hand, and said affectionately, Shall we get married after graduation? It really surprised and touched me. He is proposing to me. Under the coaxing of the crowd, I shyly agreed. He gently put the ring on me. He put his hands around my waist and pressed me tightly to him. Throughout our lives, we spend our lives hand in hand, leaving our firm steps in the long river of time. 26. Shen Wang and I clasped our fingers and looked up at the fireworks in the sky together. Wang, why didn't you tell me in advance that I didn't wear a beautiful skirt? I said with a grieved face and a little regret. Shen Wang gently tapped my forehead with his index finger, looking spoiled. In my heart, Yao is the most beautiful no matter what she wears. I lowered my head with a delicate smile. Shen Wang took me into his arms and said with deep affection, "With the Yao, the hand of the deacon, grow old with the sun." I responded affectionately, "I will grow old with my son with a Wang, the hand of the deacon." Extra. Su Yao and Shen Wang. On the first Christmas day of high school, Shen Wang gave Su Yao a gift. At that time, Su Yao admired Shen Wang very much and collected the gift. After they were together, Su Yao found the gift and opened it. It turned out to be a merry-go-round. After Shen Wang plugged in the memory card, what he played was not the song, but Shen Wang's confession to Su Yao. "Su Yao, why didn't you confess to me directly at that time? Caused me to go around in such a big circle." Shen Wang, "You are the first and only person I like. I want to be more rigorous, but I didn't expect you, a fool, to not find out." Su Yao happily snuggled into Shen Wang's arms. Fortunately, we didn't miss it in this life. In the year of graduation, they received the certificate. With the blessing of relatives and friends, they held their wedding. From school to the temple of marriage, from school uniforms to white wedding dresses. May everyone's love be white and flawless, with a beginning and an end. Zhang Yiyuan and Zhang Yao. Zhang Yiyuan left the school before graduation. After that, he focused on his career, and he was not interested in the girls who pursued him. His heart is full. On one side is the white moonlight, and on the other side is the vermilion mole. If you can't forget it, don't start a new relationship, which is just repeating the pain you have experienced. Zhang Yao's party has long been regarded as a Xing girl in the eyes of the whole school. No one sincerely became friends with her, and Zhang Yiyuan's departure was a blow to him. Therefore, she also chose to leave school early. But in the future, she would never find a boy who was as sincere to her as Zhang Yiyuan. The missed love is like the meteor in the sky. The momentary beauty leaves eternal regrets.